The janitors went home.
There are 6 guys who live in this flat, and all they do all day is play WoW and watch movies. Waking up at 2 p.m. every day, and there's always just someone asleep on the bed near all the multi-monitor computer setups. There's always music playing, and it feels like a recovery day every day, padding around blearily in pajamas or underwear. Old hoodies from defunct school teams. They've all got this system where they're selling their excess computing power to companies and hosting all this wares, and they're stealing the internet from the business next door anyway and getting welfare on top of all that. They're self-sufficient and never go outdoors except to buy more fast food, and even then, only in the dark. But then, one of them wakes up dead some heavy afternoon. He's just dead, and they don't know why, but maybe the floor covered in fast food wrappings is a clue. They don't want to tell the cops because of the purgatory den they live in and the illegality that supports it, and as far as they know, he never had any actual parents. So it's trouble. It's taking a long trip out to the forest and thinking about how stars are so far away for the first time in a long time. It's sweating in the cold air and digging a hole all night with your brand new shovels to leave him alone in. And it's a long few days cracking all his passwords to keep his identity and associated payments persisting, until the rhythm of waking up every day at 2 p.m. to play WoW for 9 hours and half-watch a movie on your other monitor takes over again. It's the same as it ever was, except now there's a room no one ever goes in. How to walk home alone at night in November. Step 1. Breathe. Feel the air as it rushes into your lungs. Feel your breath as you exhale and watch it cloud in front of you. Breathe deeply. Breathe in the cold and your own exhaustion with life. Breathe in the frost and everything that's weighing you down. Breathe out your troubles. Watch them drift away on your breath. Feel lighter. Step 2. Keep your hands in the pockets of your jacket. Do not take them out. That's where they belong. Clench your hands into loose fists, but not too tight. You're not here to fight. Your purpose lies elsewhere. Step 3. If you pass strangers walking alone, nod to them. Do not make eye contact. Do not say a word. Each of you are on your own journey. Be respectful of theirs. Step 4. If you see a group of people walking by, pass them by on the right-hand side. Do not look at them. They will not notice you, and it will be for the better. You are not meant to be seen. Step 5. Only cross the street when it is completely empty. Count your steps as you do. Notice how your feet hit the ground. Notice how heavy they are. Notice how very, very heavy they are. Notice the gravity of the earth pulling you down, tugging at your every aching muscle and cracked bone. Do not stumble. Step 6. Carry a piece of jewelry to protect you. Wear your favorite chain around your neck if you walk with your heart. Wear your favorite watch if you walk with your mind. Wear your favorite ring if you walk with your soul. If it's gone by the end of the night, do not be sad. It served its purpose. Step 7. Your eyes will get very, very drowsy at the halfway point. Do not close them. Do not let your eyes close. Do not sit down and rest. Do not sleep until you are home in your bed. If you close your eyes now, you will not be in the same place or time when you open them again. Step 8. Be wary of animals. Do not look at the cats, they will tell lies. Do not speak to the dogs, they will tell you the truth, but you will not want to hear it. If you see a raven, it is already too late. Step 9. Look down. Only look down. Watch your feet as they pace on the frozen ground before you. Do not step on any branches or dead leaves. Do not look up. If you look up, your gaze will be pulled past the street lamps and neon signs. It will be pulled up further and further. If the night is cloudy, you will be safe. If it is not, your eyes will water as they look up at the stars. You will never see stars as clear as in November. The night sky will never be darker. You will see galaxies and universes unfurling before you. You will feel the invisible strings of the universe reaching out and wrapping around you. You will feel the ache that isn't yours. The one that tells you where every single living creature in our universe is and what they are feeling. You will feel afraid. As you watch, time will slide by without you. The stars will hypnotize you and call to you. Do not listen. You are not ready. If you find yourself staring at the sky, count to 999. Do not move your lips when you count. They will be frozen together. Do not look up for a moment longer than that. If you do, you will not return. You are 3 years old the first time you're told not to go in the woods. I watch your face as you're told this to see if it gets through to you. Why? You ask. Because we don't go in the woods. When you were 9, you walked to the edge of the woods with purpose, like you were working up the courage to move forward. I've taken my eyes off you for a few seconds, but when I see this, I start to run towards you. You must hear me because you make the decision yourself to turn around and go home. I shudder to think what might have happened had you taken one more step. You grow up strong-willed, and every day I wonder if that will be the day you decide to see for yourself why the woods are off-limits. This becomes all I can think about, and it keeps me awake at night. At 14, you start to ask the other children in the village if they were told why you cannot go beyond the tree line. They are frightened. No one wants to discuss it, and they beg you to leave it alone for once. All of the children walk away from you, but one looks over his shoulder and runs back for a moment. Mama Gia knows, he whispers, eyes not meeting yours. She'll tell you. Later, I watch you bake a loaf of bread to bring to the witch as a trade for the information you need. I don't say anything. I know where you're going. I know what you'll ask. You place the loaf into a basket when it's done and take a deep breath before leaving. You walk with your head high, clenching your teeth and ignoring the stares from the other villagers as you make your way out of the cluster of houses to the lone hut down the road. Mama Gia is expecting you. She opens the door and steps out quickly, shifting her eyes around as she grabs your wrist and pulls you in. I think she sees me at the last second before she slams the door, standing watch to make sure you get there safely. Your breathing is shallow. You realize all at once that you've never seen the old witch up close. She snatches the basket from your hands and, without so much as a glance at its contents, throws it aside. "Why have you come, child?" Magia doesn't sound crazy, not at all like the stories you've heard. She gestures for you to sit and pours you a cup of tea. You sip your drink slowly, only thinking after that maybe you shouldn't have taken anything from the witch at all. "Tell me about the woods. Tell me why I can't go out there." The old woman scoffs at you. "This is why you've come all the way here? Go home, Liebling. You should not have come." "Please, all my life I have been told we fear the woods, and no one will talk to me about it. Everyone is so scared. Please tell me why. They're just trees." "Stupid child. It's not the woods your village fears, it's what's in them. Go home before it gets dark." Magia stands up abruptly and opens the door. On your walk back, you start to put the pieces together. Not the woods, but the thing in them. Something in the woods surrounding the village. Probably the same thing that took your parents when you were just a babe. But you were with your parents that night. You know that much. The village woke to your cries. You were on the edge of the woods, covered in blood. This is a story you've heard your whole life, and you know whatever killed your parents spared you for some reason. What's in the woods, you ask? I am. "I've rescued the princess," the knight proclaimed with a loud voice. His posture was slightly slumped with exhaustion, his armor showing the wear and tear of a deadly battle. One arm was wrapped in a sling, and a blood-stained bandage was wrapped around his head. To his side stood a beautiful young woman. The picture of grace, she demurely smiled, shuffling her delicately slippered feet as her golden hair swayed behind her with the movement. She blushed as all the eyes in the room turned towards her, stepping sideways slightly to hide shyly behind the knight. Smiling his reassurance, the knight grasped her fragile-appearing hand in his own, pulling her to his side, standing tall with pride. He had defeated the dragon. He had rescued the princess. And now he had brought her home, victorious. The throne room was deathly quiet. The silence dragged on uncomfortably. No one moved. Not even the sound of breathing could be heard. Every person's eyes were wide with shock, their faces pale as they stared at the picturesque couple standing before the throne. "You fool," the queen finally whispered, her voice only audible because there was no other sound. Her hands tightened against the armrests of her throne, her knuckles turned pale with the intensity of her grip. The king's eyes darted sideways towards his wife before staring back at the knight, nervous sweat running down his face. "Pardon?" The knight was sure he had heard the queen wrongly. Why was everyone acting so odd? "Why do you think we imprisoned her in that castle in the first place?" Her voice was tight with panic. "What do you—" "In an abandoned castle at the very edge of the kingdom, in the middle of a cursed forest, with the strongest legendary creature, a dragon, guarding her." The queen continued as if she hadn't heard his retort, staring at her daughter as if seeing a ghost. "Why do you think we went to such lengths?" "Don't be ridiculous." He shook his head lightly. "She's just a girl." The king felt a chill run down his spine. "Oh, she's much more than that." The king's voice was choked with tears, pure terror shining from his eyes. "So,
much more. Look, I don't know what sort of superstitious drivel you've been listening to, but she is a normal young woman who was held hostage. I rescued her. The knight threw up his hands with frustration. Yes, you've rescued the princess. The queen nodded sadly. And in doing so, you've damned us all. The knight stepped forward, ready to protest further, but a soft hand on his arm restrained him. He felt an icy chill from the point of contact, but quickly dismissed it, thinking it must have been his imagination. The princess smiled kindly at him, stepping forward. The knight froze. Her expression was beautiful, something out of a painting, but there was something wrong. Something he couldn't quite put a finger on. Had she smiled a little too widely, her eyes stayed open too long without blinking, or perhaps it was the undisguised mirth hiding in the depths of her gaze. It was the look of a child given a toy to play with, but who instead destroys it with gleeful abandon. A cheerful look, a happy expression, but something twisted and dark hiding just beneath the surface. No, the knight shook his head stubbornly, refusing to let the king and queen's superstition persuade him. I'll protect you, he offered, reaching out to hold her back. Her smile widened, and the knight shuddered with fear.
Thank you, kind knight, but I'm afraid it won't be necessary.
She walked forward, each footstep landing on the floor with a heavy sound, as if she carried a large weight with her. It was at odds with her slight-appearing frame, and the knight found himself rubbing his eyes, thinking that for a moment he saw another figure interposed with the petite princess. Something big. Something inhuman.
Mom, Dad,
she called out softly, laughing when they both flinched back in their thrones, terrified.
I'm home.
The Untitled went home.